Day 4 starts in the village of Dharapani, where we start walking along the cheap road. The road takes us pretty much all the way to our lunch spot in Manang, with just a few short sections separate on a hiking trail. After a nice leisurely lunch, we continue along the road all the way until we reach our tea house in Chame. Today's hike, mostly along the cheap road, felt quite leisurely and we were taking our time. With only 9 miles to go, we had lots of time, but we also had an elevation gain of about 800 meters, so taking it nice and slow was important to let our body acclimatize. We took a long lunch in Manang before continuing to Chame, which is one of the biggest towns in the area. Although most of the day was spent walking on the road, the surroundings are just getting more and more dramatic and beautiful, and we started seeing some of the bigger mountains of the area.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome from a tea house here on the Annapurna Circuit. Been here for a few days. Today is the end of day 4, and we're in a city, or I'd say a town called Chame. It's been really good so far. Been up until about lunchtime today. It's been very hot and humid. Luckily, still quite overcast, so we weren't actually fully exposed to the sun, which would have made it even hotter. Still been, I'd say, we've all been sweating quite a bit so far. We're getting quite a lot of elevation today, so the temperature has definitely dropped. And now, especially in the evening, it is pretty chilly. It's gonna get a lot colder the further up. As you can see, it's had some pretty nice scenery. It's some absolutely stunning paths. On the other hand, you do have a cheap road that goes quite far up now. This road has been built probably most of it over the last 10 years or so. It does mean a lot of the old trails are now taken over by the cheap road, and you do walk along it for quite some long stretches. There is quite often a path on the opposite side of the river, but they've had some pretty heavy rain earlier and lots of landslides, so quite a bit of those trails are not passable, at least at the moment. Not sure yet which trails will get restored or not. It's quite a bit of cheap road walking at the beginning, and you can just drive up on a cheap, completely bypass that, but it will be a lot harder for the acclimatization process. And for us, by the time we get to the high altitude, our body's already used to walking, and if you take a cheap kind of up here, your body will get used to the altitude and the walking at the same time, so it might be quite a bit harder. Those were the first 4 days. We've got another 10, 11 days to go, not quite sure, but we'll be on the trek for a good while longer.
On day 5, we set off from Chame and we keep following the Marsiangdi Nadi River along the road. The views are getting pretty spectacular, and there are again some sections of trails away from the road. A nice lunch stop in Dekor Pokhari is followed by a short afternoon section all the way to Upper Pisang. Today was another day where we took it nice and slowly, as there weren't that many miles to cover, but a good bit of elevation to gain. So yeah, taking it nice and slow gave our bodies time to acclimatise, and also gives us time to have a look around and enjoy our surroundings, because the views just kept getting better and better. After lunch, we finally got away from the cheap road, and for a lot of the next few days now, we would have trails away from the road, which were really nice. One thing too I really noticed today was that it was getting busier and busier on the trails. A lot of people take jeeps all the way up to Dharapani or even Chame and only start their hike from that point onwards. So yeah, it was definitely noticeable that there are now a lot more people on the trails walking beside us. The tea house in Upper Pisang definitely had one of the best views all around. The view out of our window in our bedroom was simply spectacular. We had some free time in the afternoon, so we decided to head up to the monastery for a quick visit. On day 6, we start nice and early in Upper Pisang. Trail starts out nice and flat before steeply climbing up to Gyaru. A nice viewpoint and a perfect time for an extended break before we start making our way across high above the valley to our lunch spot in Nepal. From here, we start losing all that altitude that we've gained before rejoining the cheap road for the very last bit until we arrive in Manang. Day 6, hiking from Upper Pisang to Manang, is definitely one of my top 3 days on the Annapurna Circuit trek. The trail is absolutely stunning, and the views of the Annapurna mountain range is simply amazing. You are away from the cheap road for most of the days, and we took the upper trail to reach Manang. Today was quite a long day, but with such stunning views, it was very easy to stay distracted, and I just put one foot in front of the other. Today we stayed in Manang for an acclimatization day. We are getting quite high and gaining quite a bit of elevation over the next few days, so it was important to give our bodies some time to rest and acclimatize. The best way to acclimatize is to hike high and sleep low. So in the morning we went on a hike up past Gangapurna Lake to a viewpoint overlooking the lake, Gangapurna Glacier, and the whole valley. We hiked up to about 3,900 meters and spent some time exploring and resting at that altitude. Soon it was time to head back down, and we spent the afternoon enjoying some coffee and cake, as well as watching a movie to pass the time.
Good evening, everyone. We are here in Manang at the end of day 7. The last couple of days we've trekked from Chame to Upper Pisang, and then from Upper Pisang to Manang. Now we've just had a rest day here today. We still did a decent walk this morning where we went up to a higher altitude and spent some time up there just to help us acclimatize over the next few days. We've had a great time here. Some really great food to be had here in Manang. Also did do a bit of shopping today, as it's a little bit of a bigger village. Today we're starting to make our way up towards our highlight of the trip, the Farongla Pass, which we'll be making our way up to over the next 3 days or so. Really looking forward to the next couple of days. We are finally getting completely away from that cheap road, and weather looks beautiful, so stay tuned.